licenses to same-sex couples. Standing by in D.C. with the latest details, our own Shannon Bream tonight. Shannon.
Well, Sean, Kim Davis was overcome with emotion as she thanked the hundreds who gathered to support her today, shortly after the same judge who ordered her to jail set her free, but not without conditions. Federal Judge David Bunning warned Davis that if she interfered with her deputy clerk's efforts to issue marriage licenses, she could be again facing fines and jail. While Davis has been behind bars, 5 of her deputy clerks have been issuing licenses to all couples, altering them so that Rowan County, rather than Davis's name, appears on the document. Her legal team says that is not good enough.
Whether her name is on it or not, it's under her authority. If we say the clerk of Rowan County, we know that that clerk is Kim Davis. She cannot allow her name to be associated with something that conflicts with God's definition of marriage.
2016 GOP presidential contender and former Governor Mike Huckabee quickly rushed to defend Davis last week, and he headlined today's rally in her support.
We will stand with Kim, we will stand with the Constitution, and we will stand with our faith and will not be bullied, no matter even if they incarcerate us.
Senator Ted Cruz, also a 2016 GOP candidate, was not part of the Huckabee event, but he did also visit Davis in jail today. She could be back to work as early as Thursday. Sean?
All right, Shannon, thanks so much for that report. Joining me now is one of the attorneys for Kim Davis, Roger Gannon, is with us. The thing I'm trying to understand here, why jail? Fingerprinting, mugshots, 6 days in jail. Are we criminalizing now Christianity or somebody that has a deeply held religious faith or view?
Thanks for having me on, Sean, and that's exactly right. There is no reason why Kim Davis needed to go to jail for this, especially when a very reasonable and easy accommodation would be available that would allow her to keep her conscience intact and would allow marriage licenses to flow from Rowan County.
Yeah, I think an argument can be made, can it? Considering, I guess, this is the first time that a society has changed the definition of marriage, couldn't a case be made that her job description is dramatically changed?
Well, there's no doubt that when Kim Davis ran for office and was elected to office and took her oath, marriage was defined as one man and one woman in Kentucky law. And really, it still is. The Supreme Court decision imposes same-sex marriage in all the states against their laws. But in this case, the governor of Kentucky had the opportunity to exempt any clerk who had a conscientious objection to participating in someone else's same-sex marriage. But rather than take that opportunity, which was really his duty under Kentucky law, the governor just ran roughshod over all the clerk's rights and said, issue the licenses under my command.
But don't the people eventually get to decide this? I mean, that's the important part here. And was Kim willing to accept the accommodation or a different job so she didn't have to participate in something, a new statute that shifted her job description?
Well, Kim Davis asked the legislature to take action on this issue well before the Supreme Court's decision in June. She did it within weeks of becoming elected. So this wasn't a spur-of-the-moment decision for her not to issue licenses. But the fact is, she was elected to the Rowan County Clerk office, and she's doing a great job for Rowan County. Marriage licenses are less than 0.1% of what she does there. But like all persons under Kentucky law, she's entitled to an accommodation for her conscience. The governor could very easily pass an executive order that says the licenses are issued under someone else's authority and under someone else's name, and that would satisfy Kim Davis.
All right, thank you, sir, for being with us, Roger. We appreciate it. Here now with more, 2016 Republican presidential candidate, former Arkansas Governor Mike Huckabee. Governor, you did go as far. You said this is criminalizing Christianity. I think the First Amendment is very, very clear, the free exercise thereof. This was not the job description when she was elected. I think she probably has a pretty strong lawsuit at the end of this. Thoughts?
Well, I hope she does. And Sean, one of the things that I find amazing, I was in Gitmo a few years ago and went down there to see what was going on with the detainees. We accommodated the terrorists. We painted stripes in the cell to point toward Mecca, gave them a prayer rug, made sure they had Muslim-approved halal meals because we wanted to be sure to accommodate the faith of terrorists. Are you telling me that we cannot just somehow accommodate a person, an humble Christian woman, who, by the way, is a Democrat, and at least allow her to carry out her conscience because what the Supreme Court has, I think, illegally ruled, would violate her basic obedience to God?
but she's also an elected official. And
Yes.
I understand there's a job description for that job, but the job description changed since the time she was elected. Isn't it something, would you support the idea of states deciding this issue?
Well, that's how it has always been. There's not a word in the federal Constitution about marriage. Nothing. The Supreme Court had to legislate from the bench in one of the most overreaching decisions they've ever made. This is a mark, Sean, not just of judicial overreach, but it really comes to judicial tyranny. Everybody who ever passed civics knows that three branches of government are equal. And everybody knows that the courts can't pass a law. They can review one. They can rule on the constitutionality of one. But then they can't just go ahead and prescribe exactly what it looks like. That's why we have a legislature. It's why we elect people to be in the House or the Senate so that they have the power of the purse and can actually create the law. Then the executive branch signs it and enforces it.
Governor,
This is an extreme court that wants to be all three branches.
I think I agree with you almost fully and completely here. My issue is we almost seem to be on a collision course here, and that is changing cultural mores and the Constitution and freedom of religion. In this particular case, a woman of conscience, a Christian that is practicing her faith, a job description changes because the court decides. You know, what do you see in the future? I never understood why they put this woman in jail for 6 days with, you know, rapists and murderers and thieves. All right, so she wasn't going to sign the paper. Don't you think this is a bit of an overreach, and do you see more of this coming?
When an unelected judge puts an elected official in jail for doing the job that she has, which is following the only law that she has in front of her, it's interesting to me that she's incarcerated without bail. My gosh, John Wayne Gacy.
Yeah, because she had the ability to pay bail. That was amazing, too.
Bail.
Unreal. All right, Governor,
well, I'll tell you, you asked what's coming? I'll tell you what's coming. I'll tell you what's coming, Sean. Next is going to be your pastor, the head of your Christian school. Who else is going to go to jail before this is over? This is long from over. We have to stand up for what's right.
In other words, if they won't marry, if they won't hire.
What's constitutional.
Well, we saw this with the Little Sisters of the Poor, right? We saw this.
Exactly.
All right, Governor, good to see you. We'll see you out on the campaign trail. Thank you. And coming up, we have new poll numbers are in. They do reveal in a head-to-head matchup, Donald Trump would now beat Hillary Clinton if the general election were held today. We'll check in with Laura Ingraham, Stephen Hayes.